Hello everyone, we are from Group 2. We are students of Magister Program of English Education, Sriwijaya University. Our group member consists of Nurul Maskana, Nanda Nadia, and Fani Tifano.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hi, I'm Nurul Maskana, the first presenter of Group 2. Today we are going to discuss about Washback. Previously, we have already discussed about what is task, kinds of tasks, and also we have already learned how to design a language testing. A task should have impact to the teachers, learners, and parents, which is known as Washback. Some experts say about Washback, for example, Wall and Anderson 1993 says that it is common to claim the existence of Washback is to declare that tests can be powerful determiners both positively and negatively of what happens in classrooms. Meanwhile, Person 1998 stated that it is already accepted that public examinations influence the attitude, behavior, and motivation of teachers, learners, and parents. Now let's discuss about aspects of Washback. First, from Bachman and Palmer 1996 is the extent. The limitations on the time and space available for testing mean that developers have to be selective in what they test and be pragmatic in how they carry out the task. Second, intensity. According to Chen 2005, intensity refers to the degree of which participants will adjust their behavior to meet the demands of a task. Third, Anderson and Wall 1993 said that direction, whether beneficial or damaging. Fourth, the judgment and the educational goals of he or she is possessed. Fifth, to task developers rather than seeking Washback as a sign of a task validity, seek validity by design as a likely basis for Washback. And the last one, 6, the skills needed to succeed on a task can never fully equate to the skills required for success in a target language used in it. After talking about the aspects, now we will discuss about types of Washback. There are positive and negative Washback. It will be positive when there is a seamless link and match between what is taught and what is tested if the task actually tests to be authentic, interactive language used promoted by the teacher. Then we have positive Washback in the sense that the learners are exposed to tasks that prompt them to use language authentically and communicatively, and they know that that is exactly what the final task will require them to do. For example, if we intend to teach speaking skills, we should test speaking skills. On the other hand, negative Washback occurs when there is a discrepancy between the goals of instruction as stated in the syllabus or curriculum in the focus of testing. This often leads to neglecting the goals in favor of preparing for the test, what is known as teaching to the test. For example, a task consisting only of a control writing, like a dictation exercise or filling in the blanks in a given paragraph, that would encourage the teaching of linguistic accuracy rather than actual linguistics. Now let's talk about Washback as a criterion for developing and evaluating language tasks. There are 4 criterion that have been read, and first one is how we often discuss. Second is widely held to exist. Third, that there are different points of view about what the construct may encompass. And Fourth, the positive washback is viewed as an important criterion in the development and evaluation of language tasks. However, until recently, very little empirical research has investigated the phenomenon. Well, now let's take a look on a model of washback based on framework suggested by Hughes 1993. He said, in order to clarify our thinking about backwash, it is helpful to distinguish between participants, process, and product in teaching and learning. Recognizing that all three may be affected by the nature of a task. Meanwhile, Balley 1996 make it into diagram like this. Now let's look at the development of theoretical models of washback. First, from Hughes 1993, he proposed a basic but influential process model of washback. This made a tripartite distinction between effects on participants, including the people affected by the task, for example, teachers, learners, and materials writers. In the processes, including participants, actions, for example, teaching and learning activities, and products, the outcomes of this process, including scores on tests, courses, teaching materials, and etc. Next, from Balley 1996, further developed this model representing the relationship between the elements in the form of a diagram. And from Green 2007, building on a work of Hughes 1993 and Balley 1996, he underlined the importance of detail in analysis of the task instrument and an evaluation of its encouraged or adopting term used by Resnick and Resnick 1992 overlap with the planned curriculum. Meanwhile, C and Andrews 2013 employed expectancy value motivation theory, and from Jacobs and Eccles 2000 to develop a statistical model tracing how task takers' perceptions of the design and of use of a task impacted on their preparation practices. They found that learners' perceptions of both task design and task use influence self-reported practices, but were unable to identify which played the greater role. Well, that's all about my part. Thank you very much for your great attention in enjoying my explanation, and the next material will be explained by Nanda Nadia. Thank you. Have a nice day.
Hi, good morning everyone. I am Nanda Nadia. I'm from Group 2, so I would like to continue my friend presentation about washback in testing language. In this part, I would like to tell you about the research on participant in washback process. According to Balley, 1999, research on participant in washback process divided into three parts. The first one is test taker and washback. The second one is language teachers and washback. The third one is other participant in washback. Okay, let's talk about test takers and washback. Washback refers to the extent to which the introduction and use of a test influence language teachers and learners to do things that they would not otherwise do that promote or inhibit language learning. According to Bachmat, Palmer, 1996, the test takers themselves can be affected by, first, the experience of taking in some cases of preparing for the test, second, the feedback they receive about their performance on the test, third, the decision that may be made about them on the basis of the test. Alderson and Wall, 1993, state that restatement of the washback hypothesis directly address learner. First, a test will influence learning. Second, a test will influence what learners learn. Third, a test will influence how learners learn. Fourth, a test will influence the rates and sequence of learning. Last, a test will influence the degree and depth of the learning. Besides that, there are of hypothesis refers to both teaching and learning. The first one is a test will influence attitude to the content methods of teaching and learning. The second one, tests will have washback on all learners and teachers. The last one, tests will have washback effects for some learners and some teachers but not for others. And okay, much more research is needed, however, to see whether and how these washback effects play out in the attitude and behavior of language learners. In some societies, washback learner has important financial implication for pupils and their family. For example, in Japan, for students who are serious about entering a high-ranked university, a considerable amount of coaching is normal in preparing for the entrance examination. High school students spend evening, weekends, even vacation for preparing for the test at the various juku, or we call it exam preparation school, that provides a range of coaching service, supplemental education of his kind cost. Based on the example, washback may affect learner action or their perception. Okay, now we are going to talk about language teacher and washback. Washback also includes the effect of assessment on teaching and learning prior to the assessment itself. For example, preparation for assessment. Informal performance appeals are inherently more likely to have a built-in washback effect because teacher usually provides interactive feedback, and formal tests can also have positive washback, but not washback if students receive a simple letter grades or a single numeric scores overall, and etc. Washback program is one of the result of the test-driven information obtained by someone professionally connected with a language program. These participants, as suggested, could include anyone or a combination of the people who take significant role in language instruction program, like teachers, counselor, administrator, course designers, material developers, and etc. And of course, the most visible participant in washback programs are language teachers. The vast majority of the available empirical research on washback includes at least some focus on the teacher. In considering various research about washback and language teachers, we can see effect of new or revise the test. There have been differences observed between novice and experienced teacher with respects to washback. We have seen that in many contexts, teachers change the content of their teaching but not their method as a result of examination. Okay, the last part of research on participant in washback, it is other participant in washback. The research on other parties who try to create or influence by program washback is less widely developed than the research on language learner and teachers. The other participants can include test developers, teachers, educators, curriculum planner, language inspectors, material developers, and publisher. Okay, I think that's all.
Alright, the next point that I would like to deliver is processes and products of washback. According to Hughes 1993, processes are any actions taken by the participants which may contribute to the process of learning, including material development, changes in teaching methods or content, syllabus design, learners' learning strategies, learners' test-taking strategies, and so on. Note the participants here may refer to teachers, students, schools, parents, government, and even test administrators, course designers, material developers, etc. Then, Hughes originally defined products associated with Washback as what is learned and the quality of learning. One Washback process that has received some speculative attention is the effect of various approaches to score reporting. According to Balley, 1996, the score reporting here refers to kind of feedback delivered to the learners. Firstly, direct feedback. This kind of feedback consists of a learner's actual performance on a test, which is provided in the score report. Such score reports are brief and to the point. The example is TOEFL score reports. For many years, it has given a total score and 3 subtest scores, including listening, structure and written expression, and reading and vocabulary. Second, more detailed feedback. The example is the General Test of English Language Proficiency or GTELP, a commercially developed criterion reference test of English proficiency, providing somewhat more detailed information to the test takers in its score report. The GTELP score report provides the test takers not only with information about their performance on the subtest, but also with the specific feedback in the percentage terms about their performance on the tasks and structures assessed in these subtests. For instance, the letter of GTELP Committee of Korea provides individual students with percentage level scores for specific functional tasks they complete during the test, such as giving personal information, narrating a story from pictures, expressing and supporting an opinion, giving directions from a map, and so on. Third, detailed feedback. Wesse 1983 connects the type of score report to the nature of the decision to be made with the test results. If the purpose of testing is diagnostic or to evaluate progress in a language training program, detailed scoring grades might be in order. But she also notes that global native speaker judgment of whether or not the learner has the requisite of second language communication skills might be more appropriate for placement or entrance purposes. In addition, Spolsky 1990 has tied the use of detailed score reports directly to Washback. Because there's a natural tendency on the part of those who use the test results to take shortcuts, there's a moral responsibility on testers to see that results are not just accurate but do not lend themselves to quick interpretation. For this purpose, therefore, profiles rather than single score seem of special value. Score reports that include several skills tested in different ways and adding if at all possible some time dimension. Writing in a similar vein, Sohami 1993 emphasizes the importance of detailed score reporting. She notes that the only test scores that will be used are those that provide new and meaningful information. It needs to be detailed, descriptive, and diagnostic, able to address a variety of dimensions and not collapsible into one general score. In short, presumably, official score reports provide some feedback to the test takers, but their utility and their impact depend on several factors. For example, first, scores should be accurately reported in a timely manner, related to the time dimension that I've mentioned before. Second, the information should be clearly presented in non-technical terms that are interpretable by layperson or can be understood easily by people who see it. And third, the information should be detailed enough to allow test takers and their teachers to plan a course of action for improving the learner's target language skills. Alright, the next point is Washback on materials for language teaching and learning. This section will focus on English proficiency test preparation. The first case, in Korea, TOEFL test preparation materials are numerous and widely available. Pierce 1992 points out that such material are indirect evidence of washback. As noted above, textbook washback has specifically been identified as one possible result of the test use, and this effect may be particularly important, or at least most noticeable, in the context of a change in an exam or the implementation of a new exam. The second case, in Sri Lanka situation, new textbooks had been introduced and the exam was intended to reinforce the textbook. This is according to Wall and Alderson 1993. Then, important questions about the washback effect with reference to the textbook are proposed, like, do the teachers understand the approach of the textbook? Are they prepared to accept this? Are they able to implement the new ideas? Are they aware of the nature of the exam? Are they willing to go along with its demands? Are they able to prepare their students for what is to come? According to Wall and Alderson 1993, in the Sri Lanka Impact Study observations, to tease out this effect of textbook series from the effects of the examination based on the text, they concluded from following observations and interviews with teachers that a large number of teachers did not understand the approach or philosophy embedded in the text, and they were unaware of the nature of the new exam. They also found that many teachers believe that they have to follow the textbook faithfully because the exam may test any of the content within. Alright, the third case is Hong Kong. Hong Kong is another situation where the textbook washback is particularly evident. Based on the self-report data from teachers, Lam 1994 acknowledges that a textbook-reliant methodology in Hong Kong is still very significant, like about 50% of the teachers appear to be textbook slaves in teaching the sections of the test related to listening, reading, and language system, and also practical skills for work and study. However, teachers reported themselves as being less reliant on textbooks in preparing students for the writing and oral sections of the test. Lam feels that this reliance on textbook in terms of subtest listening, reading, and structure in this context is evidence of negative washback, because instead of introducing the students more authentic materials, the teachers prefer to use the commercial textbooks, where most of which are basically modified copies of the exam paper. In a nutshell, a great deal of information has emerged about washback and language teaching materials, especially about the test preparation materials. Based on the previous literature review that I've mentioned, the role of textbooks and also their authors and publishers can be said crucial in the washback process, and the textbook is merely one of the examples that can be involved in the washback process. Alright, I think that's all our presentation today in this video. Thank you so much for your great attention and have a nice day.